Hello Twin Flames, thank you for being here, for liking, subscribing and all the amazing comments and feedback you leave me. It means the world, as you know. I've got a really powerful message for you today. This is how your divine masculine is thinking during separation. And really it's about 8 steps the angels have given me that the masculines go through that lead from separation to reunion. So stay posted for this video. I'm going to give you 8 things that they go through that lead them back into contact with you. From the first moment of separation right to the point of recontact, this is how they feel. I'm also going to be talking about how you feel during this process and what it actually means. So stay tuned, because you may feel a little bit triggered over the first 2 because you feel triggered when you go into separation. But this will make so much sense, and I really wish that this information was shared with me when I went into separation with my twin, because it would have made me realise why it happens. Stay tuned to the end of the video, because I'm going to give you a special message at the end of the video. So let's get into this then. So 8 steps that the masculines go through, what they are thinking about. So if you're in separation right now, or if you've been into separation, this is what your divine masculine was going through during that time and why they go through it, you know. So the first step, the first thing they go through when they go into separation with you, or you go into separation with them, when they block you or ghost you or ignore you, however it happens, however the separation happens, they will first of all feel relief. Now, this will be because it's something that they've been thinking about for a while. You know, they'll have been overthinking things way more than you during this time, during the run up to separation. Because remember, the masculines get overwhelmed. That's the whole reason that you go into separation in the first place. They can't understand their emotions, and they certainly can't deal with their emotions. So they're like children. They go into a room and hide. It's like if you have an argument with your parents and you run away and you slam the door and you hide away in your bedroom, you know. That's really what the masculines do when they go into separation. So at first they will feel relief, just like a child does when they go and hide in the bedroom. You know, they feel relief because they haven't got to face that person. You know, they haven't got to face the feelings, their emotions. It's like an instinct that they just run away. So, you know, they'll feel relief. And during that time, they will find a little bit of peace, because you know, they'll find peace in that solitude, that they don't have to deal with it anymore. The feminines go the other way. So when your masculine goes into relief, you go into fear and panic. So when you get blocked, ghosted, ignored, or you go into separation, the first thing as a feminine you do is you start panicking, because it's been ripped away from you. It wasn't your decision. It was taken away. So you feel very anxious and worried and fearful. And that's when you start panicking and wondering what you're going to do. So this takes us to the next step, step 2. The masculines, once they've felt the relief, you know, and they've run away and hid, they feel in control. So these 2 really go hand in hand, and these are the 2 that will trigger you, because when it happens, it triggers you. You know, everything after these 2 steps is the road back to reunion. But these 2 steps are about how they feel when it's initially done, when you initially go into separation. So first of all, they feel relief, which brings in peace, and then they feel in control, which brings in power. So the masculines feel in control because they've done it. You know, they've taken that control. They're the one that's pressed that button and blocked you or deleted you. You know, they're the one that's decided to make those changes. So they feel in control, and that will give them power, because when you feel in control of a situation, it gives you power. Think about any situation that you've been in, you know, when you felt in control, or you've deleted someone or blocked someone out of your life, whoever this may be, and you felt powerful, because you felt like you've had the final word, you've got closure, because you've done it, It wasn't ripped away from you. So the masculines will feel in control because they've taken charge. They've made a decision. So they seem in their minds like they've decided what they need at that moment. So it feels powerful to them. Whereas feminines, you feel powerless. So it's the opposite. It's the polarity coming in, light and dark, dark and light. So when you feel relief, you feel better. And the masculines panic, it's the other way around. So when the masculines feel in control and they feel powerful, you feel powerless. So you're wondering how you're going to get them back. That's what the feminines go through when the masculines cut contact, when you go into separation and they feel powerful. You feel powerless, so you wonder how you're going to, deal with it. And this is the emotion they're making me feel right now as I'm talking, because they're making me experience how it feels. When someone blocks you, ghosts you, or ignores you, or cuts off contact with you, even if it's not your twin, it's anybody, you start to go into panic because, you're not in control of that situation and you feel powerless. It's a scary feeling because, you think, and the ego comes in, the fear comes in. What if I never see them again? What if they never contact me again? What if that's it? What if? And it feels like the end of the world. But mainly the angels are saying it's because at that moment you have no power in that situation. So you panic and you start going through a load of scenarios in your mind about how you can get that person back, how you can contact them, what you can do. And, it becomes irrational. So you have irrational thinking from this feeling of powerless. But at this moment, the masculines are in power because they feel in control. And those are the first two steps, and that's always the way it happens. The third step is when they start going through their transformation, when they start waking up to the journey. So they are in complete masquerade energy during steps 1 and 2. They are just kind of blocking things out, hiding away like a child hiding in the room. And then they start to feel curious. So curiosity is step 3. They start wonder what you're doing. They start thinking about things, They start getting curious. So whereas if you've been in your power feminines, if you haven't reacted in the way that they expect at this moment, which means you haven't reached out, you haven't gone into panic, you haven't started craving their attention, they start wondering what you're doing. So they become very curious. Just like a child, if they lock themselves away in a room, they'll start thinking what the parents are doing. How especially if they haven't come knocking on the door, is everything okay? What's going on? Do you want to talk about things? Don't be so silly. Come downstairs, That's what you may say as a parent when your child runs away. So when your masculine runs away, if you don't chase them, and we always chase them, especially in the first stage of separation, and you may have gone into separation 1, 2, 3, 4 times. I'm currently in separation number 3. Or is it 4? I lose track now. But the first one was always the worst one. And that's the one where you chase. You try and get them back. You try and do anything to say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Why did I push you away? You want answers. And in steps 1 and 2, the masculines can't give you answers because they feel relief and they feel in control. But it's in step 3 where things start falling into place. So step 3 is where they feel curious and they start wondering. So if that parent isn't banging on the door and saying, are you okay? They start getting curious. What's going on downstairs then? What's going on? What are they doing? Why aren't they coming and wanting to rescue me? And that's exactly how your masculine is thinking. So when they start feeling curious and they go into step 3, curiosity, they will be overthinking things. They will start overthinking, wondering what's going on. And that's the third step. They wonder what's going on. So this could be where you as a divine feminine start to regain your power. So you start to let go at this point and give it to heaven. If you're on your path, if you're doing your work, if you're working on self-love as a powerful, strong, divine feminine, this is when you start to surrender, and the masculines will feel that. They'll know that. It's different if you're knocking on the door and chasing them, texting them, trying to get hold of them, saying, what's going on? Why are you doing this? Let's sort it out. If you're trying to chase them down, then they won't have that opportunity to feel curious, because they will just still feel relieved that they've run away from you. So you have to create a little bit of distance. And it's like you're always connected to your twin, no matter what, no matter how far you go, no matter the distance. So it may feel like a tug of war, So if you loosen the grip, because when you're chasing your masculine, they feel it, and it's like that, But when you loosen the grip, they'll wonder where you've gone. So this is where the curiosity comes, and that's when they start coming back to you. They're like an elastic band. I've got elastic band here. If you pull an elastic band, it will come back to you. It will come. You can stretch it so far and then it'll come back to you. So they feel it when you let go. Okay, it's like that. It snaps back into place. So they'll feel it when you let go. And this is when they start to feel curious about where you've gone and what it all means. And then step 4, they start feeling nostalgic. They start thinking about the past. They start thinking about the relationship or how they've hurt you, and they go into guilt over this. So they start feeling guilty. They start feeling guilty that they've blocked you. They feel guilty that they've treated you that way, and they start thinking about the way things were. And what you have to remember is, when you think about the way things were, no matter what the situation, whether it was a love situation or a friendship, you always see it from a better light than what actually happened. So you see it in a good way. Because when you think about the past, you want it to be the way it was. So you don't go to the painful stuff. You don't go to the things that created the separation or, the breakdown of the relationship. You go back to the good stuff. So they will start feeling nostalgic about the good stuff, about the way that you enhance their life, about the relationship, the friendship, the magic, the blessings, the way you made them feel. The way that you supported them and loved them and gave them that unconditional love that they've never got from another. So they're going to start feeling very nostalgic on step 4, and they'll feel guilty. And they'll start feeling guilty about the way they've treated you, that they've done things the wrong way, and they'll feel burdened. So in step 4, they feel burdened by things, because where they started to feel relief, they're now starting to feel pain and worry and panic. So this is like the first step to panic. They feel nostalgic. And, you're still in your power at this point, releasing those things. So the angels are saying when they feel guilty, you bring in forgiveness. So you start to forgive them for what they've done. And this is where you're in your power, feminines. So, if they're feeling guilty, it's usually at the moment that you bring in forgiveness energy. You forgive them for the past. You forgive them for blocking you. You forgive them for the pain. You forgive them for everything. And they feel that, and they go into guilt over it. So again, it's the polarity. It's like mirrors, making each other face up to different things. So when you're in your power, this is how they do their work. And this is what you have to understand. And this is what I keep talking about. Union is inevitable if you're doing your work. And your work as a divine feminine is about endurance. It's about strength and motivation. The masculine's journey is different. It's about transformation. It's about how they go from relief to action. How they go from relief all the way down to fear to action. So they go down into all their dark, deep emotions, whereas you rise up and shine. And that's the transformation. So at this point, you'll be forgiving and they will be feeling guilty. Then we go into step 5. The masculines then start going into fear energy. They feel fearful and this brings up pain. So the masculines will feel very afraid. They'll feel like they've lost you. They'll start wondering what it means. Just like a child, if they're in the room hiding away, at some point they have to come out. They may be thinking about what's going on downstairs. They may start thinking about all the good things. Well, it's not as bad as I thought it was, That person actually cares about me. That person gives me what I need, And they start thinking, and I'm like looking around because this is how a child does it. And then they start feeling fearful. They start being scared. Or what will happen if I don't come out of this room? Then I'm not going to eat again. What does it mean? They start going into fear. And fear is false experiences appearing real. So they start going into fear because they start panicking about what will happen if they don't come out of the room. So they start feeling fearful about what will happen if they never speak to you again, which is where you are when you go into separation. So when they're feeling relief, you're in that panic, you're in that fear energy. And now the roles have reversed. So now they are starting to feel scared. Now they are starting to feel fear. And it brings them pain in their heart. So this is when they start going into pain over the separation that they've created. And this is when you'll be in your power. So you'll be releasing the pain. You'll start to feel better. You'll bring peace into your life. So the angels are saying when the masculines go into fear and pain, that will be when you're feeling the relief. When you're feeling the peace, when you're working on self, when you're finding better things in your life, when you're being grateful, when you're starting to work on your dreams, your desires, and your life purpose, is the moment that they are in fear energy. And you'll feel this, and you'll be feeling all these emotions every step of the way. So it's not as easy as the feminines are in power, the masculines are in fear, because you both go through each other's feelings. So during this process, you'll feel scared and alone and lost because you'll be tuning in with their feelings and you'll wonder if it's coming from you. Whereas the masculines will go through moments of power. They'll go through moments of freedom, of relief, all through this process because as always, you are divinely mirroring each other for transformation, for soul growth and learning. So beautiful. And then step 6, they go into anxiety. So the masculines then start feeling anxious. And this is when real worry comes in. Real worry, that they have lost you. And they feel lost without you. Just like the child locked behind the door, they feel anxious, they start panicking. What do I do now then? What happens now? What does this mean? What am I going to, do about this situation? So they start overthinking, but it's in worry. So they're in worry energy. They go into worry step 6. They're worrying about things, They may be overthinking it, but it's more in a worrisome way. So they may have panic. They may have sleepless nights. They may go into that fear of the future. And this is when you surrender. The angels are saying when they're worrying, you're surrendering even more. And the big sign from the angels is the angels say when you think you've surrendered, surrender some more. So you give it to heaven even more than you have. And I feel that this is the time as well when you're guided to your tribe. When you're guided to people who've got you, your soul family. It may be when you stumble upon channels like this one, or you get a book being given to you, or you overhear conversations. But at this point, when they are feeling anxious, when they are worried, your connection with heaven gets stronger. So you start to trust in heaven. You start to have faith. You start to trust that there's something bigger than you in charge, because God is in charge. The universe has got your back. The angels are with you every step of the way. So this is when you start to feel that you're being divinely protected. So you see the division, the difference. And it amazes me every time, the way the angels have shown me this, it's so beautiful because it's the roles reversing. So the masculines start off in relief and you're in panic and fear and desperation, and then it changes. So you're in relief and you feel at peace, and then the masculines are in fear and desperation, and that's when they start reaching out to you. So imagine it how you feel when you're panicking and you want to chase them down and get validation from them so that they say it's okay, we're going to be okay, I'm here, don't worry. This is how they want you to be with them when they go into that state. So step 7 is when they start planning what to do. So a solution is coming in. So the masculines start to bring a solution in. So again, like the child hidden behind the door, they start to put plans into place. Well, how am I going to go downstairs then? How am I going to face them? How am I going to, come out of this room and not look stupid? And that's how they feel. They'll feel stupid because they'll think, well, I did that. I didn't have to do that. I feel stupid for doing that. And the angels are saying they go into the ego, and the ego edges God out. So there's a lot of worry around them when they're planning because they're feeling daft. They feel like they've behaved in an idiotic way. And they start bringing in solutions, ideas. They get the map out, the compass out. They start wondering how they're going to do it. So they go into planning mode. And masculine energy is very solution orientated anyway. Again, it doesn't matter if your masculine is a male or a female. They will be tuned into this male masculine energy of solution because men are very solution orientated and the masculine energy is very male. So they'll start planning how they're going to come out of the cave. And when they are doing this, feminines, this is when you're in your true warrior energy. When you've truly let go, when you've got to a point of acceptance where you're okay if they contact you or not, you're okay with things. You've accepted the journey. You're working on self. You're in your power. You're setting boundaries. You may even be looking to others to fill up your cup, And I know we don't need to look to anyone to fill up our cup, but the universe at this point may be bringing opportunities, bringing in alternatives. So you may be looking to different careers. You may even have soul teachers coming in, people who are interested in a romantic relationship with you or new friendships, people that build you up, new connections. And this is when they are planning to get back in touch with you. It's like they can smell it when you're moving on. And you aren't moving on because you can never move on from a twin flame connection. No matter what anyone says, on a soul level, you're always connected. So, they will be looking to come forward. It's like they can smell it. They'll smell it when you're happy, or they'll smell it when you're busy, or they'll smell it when you're, seeking out somebody else. So trust that they are working on this transformation right now. And then step 8 is that they finally take action. And when they finally take action towards you, which means that they reach out to you, they contact you, they test the water, they send you a message or an email, or they knock on your door, which is amazing. But however they take action towards you, it will bring in relief. It will bring in relief for the masculines because they will finally feel the relief that they felt at the beginning. They'll feel peace because they know that, wow, okay, I've got them again. They're in my life again. And at that moment, the angels say you go into panic because it brings back all the feelings, all the emotion, and then you go into panic. So it's a cycle that goes over and over and over. So when they finally take action towards you and reunion comes in, which means communication, they feel relief because they know that you've come back together, because it's a never-ending connection. And, the relief that they feel brings in peace energy. So that's the 8 steps. That's the way your masculine is thinking during separation. And it puts you in your power. It puts you into power, feminines, because, You know, this is the transformation that you go through. So without separation, you wouldn't get to a place of power. And this is why separation has to occur during a twin flame dynamic. So even when you go into separation and the first time is the worst time, it feels like the world is ending. It feels like you can't go on. It's the only time I've ever had a suicidal thought, because it feels like part of you is gone. It feels like you've got a void there. Something's been taken from you and you feel powerless. And it's the feeling of being powerless that makes it worse than ever. And when the masculines are in steps 7 and 8, that's when they feel powerless, because they have to take action. So they feel like they have to take control because the power has been taken away from them, because you are in your power at that point. You're in the power. You're the one that's in control, and they are powerless. So trust in that. So those are 8 steps that happen. I hope this helps. I wish someone had told me this when I went into separation. But I will tell you this. If you go into separation a number of times, every time it happens, it gets easier. Because number one, you don't feel as anxious because you know they're going to come back. And number 2, you have faith in heaven because you've learned to have faith in heaven. You've learned to have faith in yourself through going through it the first time. And every time it happens, you believe more and more that you'll never ever be apart, because number 1, separation is illusion. You're always together anyway on the 5D plane. You're always together in spirit and soul energy. You are eternally connected. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you enjoyed this video, give me a like and subscribe to the channel, because this is a daily channel and we are here to help you, me and the angels. And I promised you a message at the end. This is about what's coming up today, you know. And if you're watching this later down the line, check out the video that I'm going to be posting directly after this one, because I've got a message for you from your divine masculine, and I'm going to share that on a brand new video. And it's a message of hope, a message of love. And if you're in separation, it will prove to you that this is exactly how it is. Have a beautiful day. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.